Hey y'all, so while we in the car rider line, we just gonna have some car talk. The other day I had put up on Instagram that this move has triggered me. So I've been working really hard to get myself together. I've described it as an emotional relapse, if you will. And it has really tanked me in ways that it's affecting like everything. My work, my marriage, my parenting, like it's affected everything and I don't like it. And I've been here before, but not like this, right? So like the twins were infants, Derek was gone. Well, maybe they were toddlers, but Derek was gone and Victoria was in that 4 or 5 range. So I was able to maneuver it a little better, but this time I'm not. So anyway, I've been working my tail off to get to the other side of it, and I feel like I'm really coming out on the other side of it, but I have realized what that has meant for me. And what that has meant for me is letting go of a lot of the relationships that I have or the connections that I have, because ever since like I've grown just overall, I have really resorted to, I don't even want to say isolation, but isolation in a sense. Like I've only really connected with a small few people. Like I don't call and vent to nobody about anything anymore. I don't even cry like I used to. Not to say that's good or bad, but I used to be someone who I was very emotional. If I was angry, I was irate. If I was sad, I was depressed. If I was happy, I was overjoyed, like overwhelmingly so. Everything was a 10. Whatever I felt was a 10. And I had to come to realize, like, first of all, that's exhausting. Second of all, it's not healthy. And so anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that, but I used to be somebody who was very emotional, and so you know, if something happened, I would call and I would vent. I would call my godmother, I would call a friend, I would call whoever, like not whoever, but I had certain people that I would call, and I stopped wanting to do that. I made my circle smaller because you know what? I can handle getting through this, because whatever this is, it's not that big of a deal. So then when we got to Pennsylvania, I kind of feel like because I had stopped doing that, I stopped communicating with people overall, and it was just me, and I was good, and I got me, and it's gonna be fine, and nobody can do anything like I do, so nobody gonna get me and have me like I'm gonna get me and have me, right? So then I had my little breakdown, and I realized that's unhealthy. So I had to sit with a lot of what was triggering me, and realizing that a lot of things I thought I had worked through, I hadn't completely worked through them. And so now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm realizing like there's just certain people I don't want to have conversations with. There's just certain people that I don't want to entertain topics of sadness. I don't want to entertain conversations that have anything to do with anybody else, because for me, when I was coming up, it was normal to discuss what somebody else was doing and how, you know, well, if that was me, I wouldn't do it like that, and I don't know what they thinking. That kind of rhetoric like stuck with me, and as I got older, it didn't even feel good like doing that, and so I naturally kind of fell back off of that. But at the same time, to start a conversation, of course with people I knew or whatever, like that was kind of like my comfort zone, because I didn't know what else to talk about. Nobody I knew was talking about LLCs and deeds and getting your money right and doing this and that. It was always about what somebody else was doing and why they weren't doing it right. So now that I have really begun to have this second wind, if you will, I don't want to sit with a lot of people I used to know. Because those people are still doing the same thing, having the same conversations. And even if they're not having the same conversations, they're having the same moods. They're having the same, I forgot my tripod, y'all. They're still like negative, or they're still honing in on flaws of others. And it's just not an environment that I can grow in. I used to think that who I was not only not enough, but was wrong. Like what I was doing and how I was doing it, the decisions I was making about life, like, oh, why are you doing that? And I felt myself in a state of feeling unsupported. And without going into a whole tangent, like, that really bothered me, because not having that support meant I either had to go at it alone, which I absolutely should have, but I was also codependent with my mom. Like, if my mom wasn't about it, I wasn't about it. If she didn't approve, then it was no good. And there was a lot of that happening for me. And yes, I'm sharing sensitive information because this is my story. And I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of women who have a similar story. And it has helped me to know that I'm not alone. And these stories often don't get shared out loud because, of course, like, shh, hush, don't say, whatever happens in this house stays in this house. No, there's no way we're all sharing the same means and we not all essentially coming from the same house. So it is what it is. I'm not doing this to bash anybody. I'm just telling my story and how I'm getting through it. But like, a lot of the decisions I made were predicated on whether or not my family approved of it. And when I didn't get that approval, I just did something else. I did what I thought that would make them happy. And should I have known better? Yeah, but my network and my village, like, I didn't really know anything else. I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I didn't spend the night in nobody's house or spend time with anybody else's family, like as a kid, as a teenager, or anything like that. Not anything extensive that's going to open up my world. So I carried that for a long time. And, in hindsight, I wish I had the fortitude to do my own thing and live life by my terms. But you know what? It's not too late. I still have a lot going for me. So now that, again, I'm on the other side of like this healing journey, and I'm really taking the fact that mentally I have something that is going on with me that I have to fight through. Because at first, I didn't think it was real. Right? Everybody goes through this, that, and the third. Everybody experiences this. And I've learned not everybody does. Not everybody is experiencing certain things. So, anyway, I'm happy to be in this space because I'm able to show my kids, what being a woman is like, what being a young lady is like. I was worried about surviving in my own way. That's a story for another time. But like, I was worried about surviving. I was worried about people not being mad at me. I was worried about people not, grown people not yelling at me like I'm a grown person when I'm just a child. You know what I'm saying? We now know how detrimental that is. So I don't want to be that. I don't want to be a grown adult talking to my kids like they just supposed to know things, or like they somebody off the street. Like, that didn't feel good when it was done to me, and I don't want to do it to them. So it's not too late. I've never put them in that situation, But before I go too far off the deep end with the things that I have going on mentally, I'm able to pull myself off a ledge that I feel like I was moving in that direction. And that is something I don't want them to have to heal from. I don't want them to have a life they have to heal from in any capacity. So yeah, I just felt like I had to get that off my chest. I was kind of talking to myself about it and just like really working through the things that are on my mind, and that was one of them. And you know, one of the lessons I'm learning lately is to just surround myself with different people who have more to add to the conversation, people who really see you and value you, and people that you value and respect. It makes a difference. Like, as a grown person, like, I'm in my late 30s and I'm feeling like I'm starting to get my emotions on track. And to be honest, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say this out loud, it's embarrassing to be in your late 30s and own up to the fact that controlling your emotions is something that you feel like that you can't do. I ain't gonna cry with all this damn makeup on, but it's embarrassing. But I'm learning every day. And again, I know it's not too late to get it right. So anyway, that was on my heart. That was a conversation on my mind. So I thought I'd share it.